Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Avi, your head is in the corner of the screen. Okay, thank you. We're going straight to the videotape. I'm doing a little construction in my home with some from guys, and here they are. If you hear it, you can hear the echo all the way through Billyack. These are from guys. Yosef? Yeah. This is a store in Chicago. Yosef Ben Zev put this there. Take different cards, different things. It's another way to get somebody to join. Hi, Eli, going blah blah blah, but really with all due respect, I've been enjoying your share since the beginning of Nedarim. Attached to the video from a chas on I 10 tonight. Oh, that's the one in Lakewood. As they were singing, it's geschmack to be a yid. A random guy pestered the singer to sing the verse. It's geschmack to do the daf. Of course, that's what I was thinking as well, because it really is geschmack. For full details about how I got the share, read below. I know you know Rabbi Kass from Manchester because you called him out one night by name during shir. I took a picture and sent it to him because I know he would appreciate it. He's my rabbi. But it has been 10 years since I spoke to him for more than 2 minutes. Just 2 days before Nedarim, I contacted Rabbi Kass for a totally different purpose. But I thought my learning was tough and I couldn't ever keep up with it. He suggested you share, and now I won't go to bed without listening to it. I live in St. Louis, Missouri. So shir is at 11:15 at night. I feel part of the MDY family. I'm also a chussid. And the chussid of MDY. Thank you. Enjoy the video of me and some random MDYer in Lakewood. It truly is gishmak to do that. Thank you. P.S. I'm in touch with more people because I post a status when I watch. That the status really does work. Here we go. Oops.
Good morning, Rabbi Sai.
Who's the chassid? I don't know. Okay. David Katzen says, "Oi, I have to take off his phone number here. I recently heard about the share from my good friend Ziv Uzvolk. When we were in the army together, we were in the Haredi paratroopers, and we're proud. We pound Gemara on our off time. We pound Gemara on our off time. Ziv's commanders often would be looking for him because he was late for some patrol or top secret mission, and he'd be in the base medrash learning, often from Reb Eli. This was during Masechtas Yivamis. I've been on and off with the daf, but always scoffed at people who need to rely on the shir. I like to learn independently. Now I finally started listening, and I can't believe what I'm being missing. The Torah obviously is, listen to this, Rabbi, so the Torah obviously is Besser Zach, and that's what I joined up for. But I'm honest, the bittul Torah in the shir is a good zach, and that's what got me hooked. Here's a song that might be geschmack to sing if the crowd is feeling energetic. Rebelli's bittul Torah is a good zach, learning Torah is a besser zach. Learn Torah noch and noch, MDY bittul Torah is a good zach. Agrois Yishkoyach Anonymous, David Katzen from the army. Okay, you like it, huh? Finally a niggin that Noam likes. How's it go? Let's sing it. We should sing it. Is a good zach. But come on, those are not the words. Again, the words are Rebelli's bittul Torah is a good zach. Rebelli's bittul Torah is a good zach. Lenin Torah is Vavavek MDY. Okay, fine. They're not energetic. That's the pshat. Our boys are today, and we'll learn some very interesting things. Which Isser, we're not so much going to learn it, but this is like a trick question. What Isser is it to plant an olive tree in a vineyard? Let's say you have an olive tree growing right in the vineyard. Are you allowed to eat the olives from the tree, the apples from the tree? What's the answer, Rabbi Sai? Huh? Klein, Gewaldig. You're all wrong. There's no Isser at all. Okay, the Isser is to graft a tree into another tree, but to plant a tree in a vineyard is not Isser. What is Isser? To plant a vegetable in a vineyard, to plant wheat. Oh, Rabbi Didi Kramer, boy, say Shalom Aleichem to the Rebbe. He's here. Come in. Come. What do you need? What? We'll stop. We'll wait. What do you need?
You're getting more attention like this.
Oh, come. If you're already here, come to the front. Say Shalom Aleichem to the Olam. This is my Rebbe, Rabbi Isai, Rabbi Didi Kramer.
A guy. You get the Rebbe, he doesn't.
Shalom Aleichem, Afreid Chanukah. Okay,
Shkoyach everyone.
Shkoyach.
And learning Torah.
I think everybody picked up on it.
Win the Yevanim. Continue.
Beat the Yevanim. You like our new niggin, Rabbi Didya? Of course. MDY Bittul Torah is a good zach. Learning Torah is the best zach. Shkoyach. You're not a guest, but I'll say hello to you anyway. You were here the other day. What's your name again?
Yaniv.
Yaniv from up north somewhere? No, Yerushalayim? Yerushalayim. Very good. Okay. Check this out. There's a case of somebody who takes a bulb of an onion. Okay, you take a bulb, you put it in the ground. This onion happens to have trumas and maestros on it. It's mutter to eat. You take the bulb, you put it in the ground, and out come more onions. Now, there's a question in the Gemara whether the onions that come out of that bulb, are they like the bulb? Because it didn't decompose. It's just a bulb that grew more. So this Shaila, do you have to take trumas and maestros from these onions? You could have an idea, maybe, perhaps, all onions in the world will be part from trumas and maestros because they all come from a bulb. In this case, if you plant bulbs. Or, what if you take an onion that has an Isur Arla on it, an Isur Shemitah on it, you put it in the ground. Next year, it's not Shemitah anymore. Next year, there's no Arla on onion. But let's say Shemitah. So, are these onions considered Shemitah or are they considered something else? So that's the sugya that we're going to be learning. And with that, the Kailol is sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood. The Masechta is sponsored in Zgula Katoyv and Tומכיה, כיעקב ויעל. The month, last day, זכריה ב:Moshe. And the art is sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood, the schos for his nieces, Shiduchim. This is, what's his name? Fischel Klein from Tower 41. Here he is davening. This is Tower 41's building. It happens to be that my son, Mamshash Gocha Pratis, is trying to move into this building in Tower 41. And this is a beautiful shul there. I think they have like 600 or so more apartments in that building. Came out all from. There's more. I just threw that in there. Here, at Shmuel, we'll catch dentist, where many of the Tuvei ear of Baltimore use their dental nails. I was able to get them to put on the MDY shir in lieu of the cable news. I didn't get the dentist to enlist, but we may have a few hygienists and assistants join the WMDY. You guys have what that is. The official Mishnah. This is official doing his thing. Shkoyach. Zokt the Heilige Gemara. We're starting. If you just came today, we're starting brand new Masechta. Masechtas Nedarim Daf Nun Zayin. Brand new Mishnah. Here. The official Mishnah is sponsored by Alan Khan in memory of Yocheved Mina Bat Avraham Shkoyach. So welcome to all the guests. Shalom Aleichem. I see what's your name? Where are you from? Manchester. Did I see you at the Manchester Siyum?
No, you saw my son.
I saw your son. Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? Fromer? Sounds very familiar. Shalom Aleichem, Tzaddik. Okay. Koinem Peres Eli Alai. We're familiar with this case over here, and it's similar to this. There's a difference between a person saying a general Isser or saying Bayizel, let's say. So over here he says, Koinem Peres Eli Alai. He points at a bunch of fruit. He says, these very fruit should be usher to me. I'm not going to benefit from these forever. So that turns these fruit into a halacha of a carbon, of a hegdish. The Ran makes a distinction between a person who's, let's say, on a diet, and he says, I'm not going to eat dates ever again, I'm not going to eat chocolate, or whether he points at these fruits and he says, these fruits. Because when a person says these fruits, he's making an isser on these fruits and anything that comes out of these fruits. He's more upset at these fruits. He's not trying to abstain from eating a particular fruit. He doesn't like these guys. So he says these. these fruit, then the isser is stronger. Then it turns into an isser of hegdish. Whereas if he just says a general concept, I'm going to be not eating apples, then the isser doesn't go to the next generation. It's another lashon of saying I won't taste these fruit. Lefi, alpi, lifi, asur b'chilufayim, uvegidulayim. We could go over this again. We had it, but it's kedai to do chazara. Chiluf is when you take an apple and you sell it. So now he said there's an isser on this apple. You put an isser on the apple. Just because he exchanged it for something else doesn't mean that the isser leaves. So the isser remains on the cash that he received in lieu of the apple. Or a better case would be, let's say he exchanged an apple for an orange. So the isser of the apple transfers into the orange and the orange becomes asur. He said that it's like a hegdish. So if you were to have an animal that you made a carbon, and then you exchange it, you hear Avi? You exchanged it for another animal, another carbon, what happens? Comes tmura. Very good. Tmura. Yeah. Huh? They both become hegdish. Okay, but we're just saying that the isser doesn't go anywhere. What's bigidulayim? Take an apple, and in the apple you have seeds. You take the seeds out and you plant them, and then out of the plant comes another tree. So you have an isser in this apple. You said, I'm not going to benefit from this apple at all, including whatever comes out of the apple, growth that comes out of the apple. However, if he says, Shani yoichel v'shani toyim, I just want to pay attention over here that these two cases are different. They're said in different cases. So one case he says, I'm not going to benefit from the apple. Over here he says, I'm not going to eat or taste. Soon we're going to have a case where it combines the two things together. Over here he's already going to all the fruits in the world. He says, all fruits, I'm not going to eat, I'm not going to taste. Mutter bichilufayim uvegidulayim. He's saying, I'm just not going to taste these fruits that are around, but their offspring, so to speak, whatever the word is, the poil yaitza, the fruits that come out of these fruits, or the fruits that you switch with others, that, or the cash, whatever it is, that I'm allowed to eat. Now, the Mishnah explains that there's a difference. All this is said, b'davar shizari kala. If you take a seed and it decomposes, so when it decomposes, you have nothing left of the seed. It's really not there anymore. The Ran says that this idea of zari kala goes on the ratio also. But before we get there, you have a seed that decomposes. And I think it's important, before we go into the sugya, to stop for a second and think to yourself, if someone were to tell you, take this box, you put it in the ground, and a year from now, you'll have a brand new Tesla. And in the trunk of the Tesla, there'll be a bunch of new boxes, and you can take those boxes, put them in the ground. Obviously, it doesn't work like that. So we take for granted, you take a little seed, and in that seed, there's a whole tree, and in the tree there's fruit. And yeah, it's normal. Scientists can explain it. It just works like this and like that, but at the end of the day, I think we have to pause for a second and think about that miracle that we take for granted. Take a little thing, it doesn't have anything in it, you look at it in a microscope, put it in the ground, decomposes, and all of a sudden, a giant tree comes out. Okay. So this zari kala, it's not here anymore. And Memela, when I say I'm not going to eat this apple, it doesn't include something that decomposed later on and something grew out of it. Okay. Now, I think it's important. Let's see the Ran inside. I think it's a very, very geschmack Ran. It's kedai to see it. We have a few extra minutes maybe, so let's see it inside. We don't always do Rans. We don't have the opportunity, but if we have a shorter daf, 10 lines down from where it becomes very wide. 10 lines down. B'davar shizari kala. So Says the Ran, akulam asnisim koi. It's going even on the reisha. V'achikamar. My damrina bereisha asur b'gedulayim. This that we said in the reisha, that when a person says, I'm not going to eat these fruit, it's asur even in the next generation fruit. The mashmad afka b'gedulayim mitzar ava b'gedulay gedulin shari. So this is a very important point that the Ran brings out here, that from the Mishnah's mashmad only goes one generation of fruit, not two generations. It goes this apple and this apple's baby apple, but not the grandchild apple. Okay. And this is only talking about when you have something that the seed decomposes. There's nothing left. So what are you answering exactly? Says the Ran, you admit to me that if you take an apple and exchange it to an orange, in the orange is zero apple. Zero. So why is the orange asur? Because you took the isser and it transferred invisibly through the ear, it transferred into the orange. So over here also, there's no difference, says the Ran. You're right. The child apple grew from a seed that decomposed, and the seed doesn't really exist, decomposed by the time it grew. Yet, it's chalipin. It's exchanging one item for another item, and that's awesome. The third generation, the grandchild apple is motor. The kivin the gedulim b'davar shezar kol kichalipin damu. Since you're comparing it to chalipin exchanging, by chalipin also, if you exchange an apple for an orange and then you go from an orange to a grape, the grape is motor. The chalipin exchanging only lasts one time, not twice. The so the Ran goes back to the diuk. It doesn't go to the grandchild fruit, only to the child. That's what the Gemara is saying now, that it only exists in something that the seed decomposes. What if something like a bulb, like a onion, that the seed doesn't decompose? Why? Because when you have a bulb, there's an isser in the bulb. You put the bulb in the ground, and that bulb in the ground had another onion. So that onion that came out of the bulb is partially isser. Now he says a beautiful thing. Last line in this Ran. Ask the Ran. I don't understand something. You have a bulb. You put the bulb in the ground. And that bulb had 100 onions. So shouldn't that bulb become batal b'roiv? If it has 60 onions, 61, whatever it is, it should become batal b'roiv. Why does it become batal b'roiv? What do you say? No, we had this sugya. I want to remind the Olam. It's a davar sheyesh lo matirim. Why is it considered davar sheyesh lo matirim? Because we're talking about Nedarim. And when it comes to the neder, you're supposed to go to the rabbi and be mevatel your neder. So it's a davar sheyesh lo matirim. Davar sheyesh lo matirim, even in 1,000, is not batal. That's what the Ran says when we learned that sugya of davar sheyesh lo matirim. Unedarim havelu davar sheyesh lo matirim. K'damrim v'gemara. I hear we could discuss your time. You said good stuff. It's a davar chashuv. It's a bria. I hear. Next. Where am I holding over here? All this we did. Okay. Back to the Mishnah. Here. Bulbs. These are bulbs. You put the actual bulb into the ground. Other things come out. People do it with tulips in America. They do it with onions. They do it with different things. Okay. Person tells his wife, I have nothing to do with anything that you make. Why? So Yoshi made a beautiful picture. There's a few pieces of humor. Some I'm asking to, some I'm not asking to. Here we go. Eli Stefansky. But that's not the point. The point is the shirt. It's lit to do the daf. It's one of these guys. He has a chamsa on the wall, all sorts of things. And here you have his wife who burnt the food. Didn't even look at him, chucked the food at him. So he got upset at her. He says, "I have nothing to do with anything that you make." In other words, your food. I'm not going to eat your food anymore. I'm done with your food. I'm done with any maisi yadayim. Any work that you do, I'm not going to have benefit from. He brings Rishonim, Avi. What's going on, Avi? The two Avis, Shluffin, they're out cold. I'm not going to let you say Agan Tzaddik when I walk in anymore. If you're going to sleep during chair. Where do you come from? You came from America or something? Again? We don't want to hear those stories. We have Be'emes. We have a person who's a tzaddik, Be'emes, a true tzaddik. Nobody would do this. He went, when was it? Erev Sukkot. He went to bring a sick seminary girl to America because he's a doctor. On the plane, they need a doctor, and he comes right back. I don't think he charges for it. Maybe he does. Who knows? It's not important if he does. Nobody else would do it. These are things that nobody else would do. He does. Yishkach for being here, even though you're very tired. You have an excuse. This guy, I don't know.
Did the whole run with you inside, and it was 12 lines there. I'm not 10.
Count it. Let's go. Count it. Count how many lines. I forgot the guy's name. He made us a ruler. Here, I'll give you the ruler. It doesn't work. It doesn't work on the run. He made a ruler. It says the amount, so you could go. It's 10. I told you you're sleeping. Yeah. Zok the Gemara. It says the Mishnah. He is gonna. So I just want to point out a very interesting thing. It's very pashut. The Ram brings a rishon that says that the only thing that's also for the husband is the profit on the item, because if the wife is using the husband's ingredients, she can't ask for the ingredients. If the husband paid for the flour and the oil and the eggs, that doesn't become asur. What becomes asur is everything above and beyond that. Her work that she put into it. So you have to find out how much it costs to bring a chef into the house. And that's what he's asur. But the actual ingredients, you have to deduct from the product. So you have a muffin, it costs in the store $2, so you could benefit $1 because he has $1 worth of ingredients in there, not. You have to figure it out. Or her salary. Again, the Ran goes into, and we discussed this, that the hands become literally kainim, because if it's not something that you could put your hand on, you can't. Work is not something that you could feel, but the hands you could. So you can make a neder against her hands. Hekdesh on the hands. I won't eat your food, I won't touch your food. Right, there's a Mishnah at the end of Gitin that says if a woman burns the food, you could divorce her without a ksuba. My brother-in-law loved the Mishnah so much that was his whole drasha by his own vart. Like he was warning his wife. So, once again, it seems like the same halacha again, as we said before, that if the husband takes whatever she makes and he plants it, there's offspring to whatever she did, it's asur for him to benefit from it. If he exchanged it, he sold her cake for another cake, asur to eat it. Shani oichel, shani toyem, mutar b'chilufeyem u'b'giduleim. So over here the Ran says that he's combining the two things. He's combining kind of maisi yadayich together with shani oichel. Okay. So therefore, bedavar shazari kala, once again we have a distinction. If it's something that the seed decomposes, adavar shazari kala. So let's say she worked really hard, she planted trees. Since he said he's not going to benefit from the tree, so it's mutter in the offspring, and mutter in the new tree because he said shani oichel. But let's say she planted onion bulbs, and over here we have another chiddush, because now he's answering somebody else's fruit on himself. Okay, before is more these fruit over here, my fruit I'm not going to eat. Over here he's answering his wife's product. Another chiddush. Now he says, and we had this before, well, not this case. This is an easy case. Whatever you make, I won't eat until Pesach. If you make me a blanket, I won't use it until Pesach. Also, Pesach, this seems like an obvious halacha. If she makes a blanket before Pesach, if she makes a cake before Pesach, you could eat it after Pesach. If she makes a blanket, you can use it after Pesach because he's very specific. He said up until Pesach. But if he says, as a general rule, anything that you make before Pesach, I won't eat forever. I won't use the blanket forever. Of course, he can't use these items after Pesach. Now, this is the case we had, and you'll see right away what I'm talking about. Person doesn't want his wife to hang out with his own shver. I could relate to this, not because I have one of the best shver figures, but I live very close to my in-laws. When I lived in Chicago for 10 years, very close. Now, not as close as my brother-in-law who lives next door, and my other brother-in-law who lives in their backyard. So I was a little worried about that, so I said I want to live like 3 blocks away. 3 blocks away. But then my wife would tell me, like on Sunday, she'd say, okay, I'm going to my parents' house for 5 minutes. Just make sure you mix the soup every 15, 20 minutes, okay? I'm going for 5 minutes. That was her shtick. I'm going for 5 minutes. But I could see where somebody could get a little nervous and say, listen, if you ever go back to that house, I have nothing to do with you. Okay. Over there, it's like Yom of Alayla. In, out, they're coming, they're going. All the kids are everywhere. It's like a bungalow colony. Fine. So, here's what's going on. Here's the case, right here. There's a T'nai and a Neder. That's the shver picture, right? So it's backwards, but that's the shver. He says like this. I'm making a T'nai. You can't go to your father from today. Today is like Purim time, which is before Pesach. You can't go. The T'nai is you can't go all the way to Sukkot. Over a half a year. From Purim till Sukkot, 7 months. Now, if you go to your father's house throughout the entire red line, from today all the way to Sukkot, then you can't benefit from me until Pesach. The neder is shorter than the T'nai. I'm going to punish you. The punishment, let's call it the punishment to understand. The punishment, the neder, is only until Pesach. So what happens if she goes to her father's one day after Pesach? So comes out that everything that she benefited from her husband beforehand retroactively was usher. Okay? She's not allowed to take anything from her husband. Taisus goes in. How could he do something like that? He's mechuyev to give his wife, okay, whatever it is. She invoked this problem. He told her, listen, I'll do everything the Torah says. I'll pay, I'll give you mizaynis, everything I have to give. On condition that you don't do jumping jacks for 7 months. On condition that you don't go to your father's house for 7 months. If she does jumping jacks or goes to her father's house, even after Pesach, although the punishment, the neder, is only up until Pesach, it comes out retroactively. When she ate, let's say he fed her, he gave her a nice, he took her to a restaurant 2 days before Pesach. Was it mutter for her to go to the restaurant with him? Absolutely. But if she goes to her father's house a day after Pesach, all the way up to Sukkot, then that restaurant meal was usher for her to benefit. Because she could not benefit from him until Pesach. And that meal was before Pesach. Yes, at the time that she went to the meal, it was mutter, but she just ruined it by breaking the T'nai. And the T'nai is longer than the neder. That's what Taisus asks. But she broke it, she did it. Okay, ayin and Taisus. So that's case number 1. If she goes before Pesach, we understand Asur Bano Seder Pesach. Then, of course, she broke the T'nai, then she's Asur in the Neder until Pesach. Daf Yomi Beis, sponsored by Yankel Cohen, the official MDY MSP. The schools being able to support limud hatorah and to finish shas with the rebellion. La'achar Pesach, if, check out this chart. I call it RNT. Shmak, RNT. Retroactive neder trigger. Just remember that RNT. If she goes after the neder is already done. Then it comes out that she was over on the neder retroactively. Anything she benefited from her husband during the blue period over there, from today until Pesach, became retroactive asur because why? She broke the t'nai. She broke the condition afterwards. It's a retroactive isur of Baal Yachal. Shat nedes li'ad hachag. Im oileches ad lebeis avich ad Pesach. Now, here's the reverse. The condition is short. The neder is long. The punishment is very long. The amount of time she can't go to her father is short. She can't go until Pesach. I need you home to clean. Don't go to your father's house. Now, if she goes during that time to her father's house, she becomes usher to benefit from her husband for 7 months straight. If she went before Pesach, then she made the Isser Neder. No, that's something else. It goes over here. Okay, so she's... This is this, right here. She's permitted to go, she's permitted to go after the T'nai, obviously, right? It's obvious. But the Ran says, beautiful, I would think it's not so obvious. Why? Because she broke the T'nai. This is a condition, she broke it over here. Yeah, she broke it. She went to her father's house when she wasn't allowed, during the red period, until Pesach. So now she became usher to go, to benefit from her husband, all the way to Sukkot. Says the Mishnah, even though she broke it, we still permit her to go to her father's house when there's no T'nai. Because I would think that we have to keep her thinking and remembering that she's usher to benefit from her husband. She can't go to restaurants anymore, she can't eat his food. But wait a minute, maybe I could eat the food because I'm allowed to go to my father's house. I'm only not allowed to eat the food because I wasn't allowed to go to my father's house. Komashmal, and she could go to her father's house. That's not a problem. Huh?
She could even go again before.
I don't know. She's over maybe every time. I'm Billyack. You're right. The neder is chal already before Pesach, but she still has an isser to break her neder. No, I don't know. A nazir, he's allowed to drink wine twice in a row. I don't know. Talking like a Gemara. It's some stomach for a Mishnah somewhere. Says the Gemara. Fine. So we had this, the whole Mishnah. Says the Gemara, very interesting shaila here. Yishmael ish kfar yama. Yishmael used to live on the ocean. He had a beachside front property. V'amri lo, and some say no, he didn't live on the beach. Ish kfar the yama. That was just, not that he lived on the beach, but that was his name. Kfar the yama was the name of a village. Hello biyada. He asked the question. B'tzlאל shakar b'shvius. If you have an onion, that's also for you to eat on Shemitah for whatever reason. Okay, let's say it's after the Zman Bir. I don't know, whatever the reason is that you're not allowed to eat this onion. That's a Shemitah onion. He uprooted it on Shemitah. Unatai b'shminis, like our year today, it's the 8th year in the Shemitah cycle. The first year, let's call it. The 8th year, just to understand. 1 year after Shemitah. But you planted something that's also in the ground. V'rabu gidulav alikaroi, and it had a lot of, you put one bulb in and you had 100 onions, 61 onions. Gidulav had to be kari asur. So just to tell you how the Ran learns the sugya, not all the Rishonim agree with him, but we go with the Ran. The Ran just says the question is the gidul mutter or is the gidul asur? Very simple question. We're not talking so much about a bittul baroiv here, says the Ran. We're talking about a very simple question. Whatever grows from this bulb, does it have halach of mutter or halach of asur? Now, if it has halach of mutter, then it should go ahead and be mevatel the original bulb baroiv. But that's not so much the question. The question is, how do we view growth that comes out of a bulb? Do we view it similar to a seed that decomposes and whatever comes out is a new product, or no? It has within it all DNA is not such a good word because the seed also has DNA, but it's literally like part of the onion that just grew and mamela should be awesome. Kiv in the Rabu Gidul of Mikari Oisin Giduli Heter Malanasis, or now, since it's mutter, all the Gidulin are mutter. In other words, the Gidul is not like the Iker, and therefore it's mutter. And once it's mutter, it should turn around and be mevatel the original bulb. Beroiv, or no, we say that everything that grew out of the bulb is just like the mother, the original, and therefore they are all aser. Also, come the Rabami, lo have biyode. Yes, Rabami didn't know. Also, come the Rabbi Yitzchak Navcha. What? Exactly. There's no middle. Okay, it's black and white according to the Ran. Mutter or aser. Exactly. Other Rishonim learned that it's a little bit of this in between kind of thing.
This would be mutter now.
Right. Exactly. This will be mutter. That's how other Rishonim learn. It fits. The Ran has big problems here because doesn't even seem like that's the Gemara's. The Gemara's talking about bittul over here, not so much. Okay. Also, come here, Rabbi Yitzchak Navcha, Pashalei Menado. So Rabbi Yitzchak Navcha, you notice that the Gemara is bringing rayas, and by the way, this sugi is going to go all the way to the end of the parak, another 3 daf. Do we go by the bulb? Do we go by what grows out of the bulb? So we're bringing rayas from things that are not even the question. We're talking about shmita here. You take a shmita bulb and plant in the 8th year, is a mutter aser. Now we're going to go to things that are similar. The Gemara understands it's the same halacha. The Amar Chanina Trisa. This is a person that I only found once in the entire shas, right here. Amar Rabbi Yanai. B'tzlאל truma shenato v'rabba gidulav alikara. Same question, but in truma. You take a bulb of an onion, and it's truma. Only a kohen could eat it, and now you plant it. Who could eat it? Could only kohanim eat it, or Yisraelim could also eat it? Same question, l'chayra. If I know the answer to this, I know the answer for Shemitah. So it says over here, mutter. Everything that comes out of the bulb is mutter, but it's mutter. The Ran points out, not mutter. Don't go ahead and eat it. It's not. It's still tevel. You have to take truma samaisis from it, but it's mutter. It's not considered truma. Every time Rabbi Zrega shavik mar train, you just dumped Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yonasan to Tanoim Amoraim Vavid Kechad, and you just went with 1 over 2. Maninu train. Who are the 2? Here's Rabbi Yochanan. Yalda shesibcha b'skena uba peiros. You have a young sapling here. This is from Yoni, colored. Vremi gave me this. This is our kava. This is when it's aser to take a tree, an apple tree, and combine with another tree. The apples would be aser. This is called our kava. But just planting one tree next to another, that was my trick question in the beginning of this year. That's not aser. Kalayim is when it's vegetables planted next to fruit. Okay. So if you take, what he's doing now, he's taking a small sapling of a tree that's less than 3 years old. Less than 3 years old is arla. Also, midaraisa to eat it. He grafted it into another tree. Avalpi Beskena. Yeah? The famous joke, Maisa will say real quick because it's Nedarim, jokes are few and far behind. There was a old man, very old man, because we have 96-year-olds in the shir, so we're talking about a 110-year-old, sitting on a park bench and crying. He said, why are you crying? He says, what are you crying? Yesterday I married a 20-year-old. So he says, so Gevaldik, so what are you crying? He says, yeah, but I don't remember where I live. Okay, you take this young sapling and you graft it in an old tree. So now I had to add this. Rabbi Yisai, it's the same thing, but it has fruit on it. And that's a very important thing, that it has fruit. Because these fruit are also because of Arla. Arla becomes Bata Beroiv in how much? In 200. Even though this little sapling, let's say, grew somehow 200 times the size, everything remains aser. So isn't that a good right to us? Here you took a bulb, let's call it those fruit, and the bulb grew and grew and grew 200 times more. This tree right over the sapling grew 200 times more. Everything's aser. So by an onion also, you take a bulb, you put it into the ground, 200 onions grew out of it. They should all be aser. That's what it says over here. And that's Rabbi Yochanan. That is what? So this Rabbi Yochanan says it's also. You take an onion and you plant it in a vineyard. So now this is real klayim. This is a vegetable in a vineyard, which is also and then you got rid of all the grapes. Also, even though the bulb grew 200 times more than it was before, it's still also. So again, you see the idea that you have two Tanaim, call them Amoraim. The last of the beginning of the Amoraim, you have 200 times more. It's still also. So by the bulb also here, it's mamish. We're even talking about a bּtzlאל. That's our question. You take an onion that's from Shemitah and you put it in the ground. Everything should be awesome. Just like you take an onion, you put it in the ground in a vineyard. It's all awesome. Rabbi said, no, I have another right. You take, let's just for argument's sake, you take one onion and you put it into the ground, but before you put it into the ground, you took trumas and maisras. So this onion is 100% mutter to eat. You put it in the ground, misaseres levikula. Unbelievable halacha. You put one onion in the ground, and 9 onions grow out of it. How much do you have total? 10. What do you have to take trumas and maisras from? 10 or 9? The first onion you put in the ground, you already took truma and maisra. You put it into the ground when it's perfectly edible. Put it in the ground. Now, out of that, grew 9 onions. So now I take all 10 out of the ground. Do I have to take trumas and maisras on the original that went to the ground? Says the halacha over here, misaseres lefi kula, all 10 need maiser. Unbelievable. We're going to have to understand how there's something that mutter to eat become asur to eat. So here we have an answer to the question. Everything that grew out of it is actually asur, and once it's asur, according to the Ran, it goes back and is mevatel. It makes everything, even the original, becomes asur. Says the Gemara, Dilma l'chumra shani. What does that mean? Maybe the gidul is the ikr, like the ikr. The ikr we have over here is mutter. You're allowed to eat it. It's meiser. Just taking meisers from it, not meiser. Meisers were removed, you're allowed to eat it. So perhaps the gidul is like the ikr. But because over here we want to be machmer and say that he should have to take another meiser on it. L'chumra. But in our case of Shemitah l'kula, we wouldn't say such a thing. Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful day.